Welcome back, Proppers. Today's video will be the second edition of my Halloween projects, a zombie biker. The template for this project will be made with the foil and tape method using my model skull for a medium. After creating the template, it was reduced down to 85% and then cut out of 4mm EVA foam. The template pieces were hand-formed and all the darts were closed using contact cement. An inverted curvature was hand-formed into the section of template that made up the eye socket. Each side of the template was fully formed before attaching the two halves together. A marker was used to lay out the position of the facial details. I used my X-Acto knife to cut out the opening for the mouth. The same procedure was done for the eye cavities. I used a piece of 2mm EVA foam to create a pouch for the inside of the mouth. The same procedure was used for the eye sockets. A piece of 4mm EVA foam was used to create the skeletal nose. The internal structure of the nose was also created out of 4mm EVA foam. The cavity openings were all sanded down with my Dremel rotary tool. The rotary tool was also used to create indentations in the gum line for the teeth. The entire project was then sanded down. With the facial structure completed, I got started on the back of the head. Since I hadn't created a template for the back of the head, I cut some pieces of 4mm EVA foam and just played it by ear. Darts were cut out of the back of the head to make any needed adjustments. The bottom back section of the skull as well as the neck was also created out of a piece of 4mm EVA foam. With the full structure of the head completed, I could start sealing the seams with some EVA foam clay, as well as create the facial detail. I hadn't learned my lesson yet about applying the foam clay. It's better to just sand the seams down without the foam clay, because most of this is going to be taken off with the sander. To get a tight-fitting helmet for our zombie biker, I decided to make the template directly from the model itself. And as usual, the preliminary template will be made from foil and gray tape. The preliminary template was rounded off, marked into 4 sections, and registration marks were added before cutting it off of the head. Slits were made at strategic points in each section of the template and flattened out to create the darts. A notching tool was used at each registration point. The preliminary template was then transferred onto a sheet of cardstock. The cardstock templates were marked onto a piece of 6mm EVA foam and cut out. All of the darts on the template pieces were sealed with contact cement. After hand forming all the individual template pieces, they were connected together with contact cement. A template for the brim and ear guards were created and cut out of cardstock. It was then transferred onto and cut out of a piece of 6mm EVA foam. The brim and ear guards were connected to the skull cap with contact cement. 2-inch spears were cut out of a piece of 10mm EVA foam to project the ear guards. The entire project then received its final sanding. After connecting the 2-inch spears to the ear guards, it was time for the final detailing. A hole punch was used to create some detail around the outer rim of the helmet and the ear guard. For the eyeballs, I'll be using the nitrogen ball from my Guinness can. The spear will be cut into 2 cornea-sized pieces. The plastic corneas are trimmed down to size, then test fitted into the eye socket. All of the facial features, starting with the eyes, are created with foam clay. Foam clay was also used for the cheekbones, gum line, and chin. Some scarring detail was also formed on the cheeks using foam clay. Since our little buddy has just crawled out of the grave, we have to put some nice mud marks and residue on the helmet. And a bit of decaying skin on his skull. I'll be using a small piece of 2x4 as well as pieces of cardboard to create the stand for the head. The pieces of cardboard are layered onto the piece of 2x4 with contact cement and then cut into a spear. The cardboard and wood stand is then wrapped with a piece of 2mm EVA foam. The stand is then glued and screwed to a wood base. After giving the entire project one coat of black plasti dip, some more small details were made for the helmet with 2mm EVA foam. A coat of brick red spray paint was applied to the entire project, and then the teeth were attached with instant glue. The teeth were all formed from 4mm EVA foam. After performing a little dental work, the gum lines were created with foam clay. The project received a coating of high-performance white before completing the final paintwork. There's no use telling you exactly which color paint I'm using at this point because I'm just trying to create a real nasty, muddy environment. You know, this guy has to look like he just crawled out of the grave and there's just all sorts of stuff stuck to his face. But I can tell you that this first coat is just a wash. I'm going to eliminate most of this to leave a real splotchy look. Now it's time for some filthy grime. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. I think we're getting there. Although we are going to dirty up the inside of the mouth, I need a splash of color. You know, the guy does have some dried blood in there. We're also going to tear into the cheek with our USB soldering iron. He'll also need a few battle scars. We'll add some muted red inside the scars to simulate some dried blood. Now our buddy can only grunt and moan, but I think I'm going to give him a tongue anyway. I'll smooth out the tongue with my drummer rotary tool and add a little detail with my USB soldering iron. I'm going to dirty up the tongue with a little gray first, but then I'll add a splash of red inside there, just like the inside of the mouth. I'll hand form the tongue just before attaching it to the back of the mouth with instant glue. I'll add a little gray to the white to make his dirty teeth with a tint of green. Just a little more splash of color inside the nose and in the eye sockets. I want some bright demonic colors for the eyeballs itself. I start off with bright white, I circle it with a bright yellow, and I put a black pinpoint in it before attaching them inside the sockets with instant glue. I'll add a small amount of black detailing, a little bit of shadowing, and some white for contrast on the helmet, and then we'll be all done. And this marks the end of this project. As always, thanks for watching. I appreciate your support. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, press that like button, and press the bell notification so you'll be notified when each new video is uploaded. I have another doozy for you, continuing with my Halloween series next week.